What is the valuation at which you have taken over the asset? And if you can just tell us how much is the haircut that has been taken by banks?
Yeah, good morning. Actually, because of confidentiality at this point of time, I cannot talk about the deal contours. But in terms of the asset, it is a 700 megawatt asset. There are 2 units of 350 megawatt each, and 1 unit was commissioned and another unit is under construction. But the beauty about this asset is that it has got a complete fuel supply linkage as well as the PPA for more than 87% capacity. So, and our stated strategy has been that we are looking at the assets which are in the bottom quartile of the distribution company for purchase basket, and this asset is on the pit head, and because of which the variable cost of the power will be close to 1 rupee 30 paisa to 1 rupee 40 paisa, and that's why it makes it very, very competitive power for distribution companies. So that's why we have gone for this asset.
Couple of more details, Prashant. I mean, if you can share with us, because it will benefit your shareholders, is there any more money that you have to put in before this asset commences production? And if yes, how would you be raising that money?
Okay, so look at this way that we have been always looking at the normative return, and then what I can say that on a constructed basis, the complete deal will be between 3 to 4 crore rupees per megawatt. That's the kind of a range. It includes the amount which we will be paying to the lender as well as to the which will be going for completing the project and making it for new environmental norms compliant. That means putting the FGD and SOX and NOx compliance. And because the PPA is very, very good, attractive rates, and we believe that we will be certainly getting normative returns on normative equity and maybe higher than the normative returns.
Okay. Any other acquisition that you'd be looking at? I mean, there are some reports indicating that you're in talks to acquire GMR's Kamalanga Energy project. Is anything on the pipeline in this calendar year? Any timeline that you can share with us?
Yeah, that is exactly also one more transaction we have entered into a exclusive discussion with GMR Energy for Kamalanga asset, and that asset is also a very classic asset as which fits in our stated strategy. It is also a pithead plant where 85% power is tied up and 15% is the open power. They are supplying to, there are the 3 units, all 3 units are operational, and there is a lot of synergy between GMR Kamalanga asset as well as in Bharat asset because they are located close to 30 kilometers between each other, and so there will be a huge operational synergy as well as the savings which will be accruing to us, and we believe that we should be able to do the transaction, both the transaction in the current financial year.
Okay, that's interesting. Prashant, good morning. Surbhi also joining in the conversation here. So you are, looking at the GMR asset as well. Now, what does that mean in terms of your own balance sheet? What's the kind of sort of elbow room that you have? And in terms of financing this, what have you thought of?
Oh, our balance sheet is quite under-leveraged. Look at our balance sheet is 0.85 times debt to equity. And that offers us a huge, headroom to grow our balance sheet size, and that's why we have been looking for the right time and right assets, and then now these are the 2 assets which have come our way. And so we don't need to raise any kind of equity in order to do both the transaction. In fact, we generate close to 1,800 to 2,000 crore of cash profit every year. And the way the deal will be structured, they will be day one the EPS accretive or the ROE accretive for the company.
Okay, and what's the timeline also on the GMR acquisition if indeed that were to go through? And then let's say over a course of next 12 months, what's the augmentation in your total capacity that you look at with these inorganic acquisitions are also under your belt?
As I said, that both the transaction we are expecting to complete in the current financial year, and our capacity is 4.6 gigawatt at the moment, and we are looking at 10 gigawatt of capacity in next 3 to 5 years time frame. So There are the other growth opportunities which we are also looking at it. We are also looking at renewable space, because the kind of a momentum we have seen in last couple of quarters, the interest is drying up, and then there was a the predatory pricing kind of a scenario which was prevailing in the renewable space. That's dying down, and the sense is prevailing, and then we feel that is also this is also an opportune time at which we should take a plunge into the renewable space. So we will be certainly looking at some wind or solar space at right point of time.
Okay, separately a question on the pledges that the promoters have released. What is the level of pledge shares currently, if you can just share with us, and do you have plans to reduce it any further?
So, we only get the information from the promoter, whatever is informed to the stock exchange and to the company. And in the starting of the fiscal, if my math is correct, then it was approximately 42% of the promoter shareholding in JSW Energy was pledged, and then recent deleveraging at the promoter level has reduced it by close to 8%. And as and when we come to know further deleveraging, we will be informing. But the trajectory is on the deleveraging side. That's what I can inform.
Okay, Prashant, you've given us lots of details on JSW Energy. I just want to snap out for a bit and also talk about the overall environment, because September was a very challenging month. I mean, I think all this rain also was causing disruptions, and merchant power prices were down, I think 35–40% because of this. Demand has been really weak as well. Is there any pickup that you're seeing in the last 15 to 20 days? What's happening to power tariffs? And last, when we spoke to you, you told us that this LC mechanism isn't really working out as intended because of the demand-supply situation in the market. So what's happening now?
Yeah, so September was really a aberration which we have seen. In October, we have seen the pickup. In last 10 days, the power prices have gone up, demand is going up. So you can attribute August and September scenario because of the heavy rains as well as lower economic activity. But I am quite confident that power demand is going to pick up, and year till date also you are talking about in the range of 5% power demand growth year on year basis, and I am quite confident that the power demand in the current fiscal will be in the range of 4 to 5% as compared to the last year, and that's what makes us very, very optimistic about the power sector. In terms of the LC mechanism, as I mentioned last time, is that you should not look at the short-term pickup or any kind of a resolution because of the LC, but it's a step in the right direction. In next 5 to 6 months time frame, the things will be settled, and then there will be a discipline which will be coming from the DISCOM side, and so that sense is prevailing, and more developers are now coming on the forefront to talk about this issue, and the government is taking this step in the right direction.
Quickly on the merchant tariffs, if you could tell us compared to the lows that tariffs fell to, let's say in August, September, where are they now, and how do you expect tariffs to behave?
So they are up by 20% as compared to the September low tariff. We have seen on an average tariff was 2 rupees 60–70 paisa. Now they are north of 3 rupees. So that's what we are seeing, and also we are seeing the demand pickup.